we're going to go to my profile here, and we're going to go to my games. Now, if you look at this, you will see that I have played 1,196 games on live chess, which is actually really kind of crazy if you think about it. And I've lost more than I've won. Now, the thing is, this doesn't necessarily make me a bad chess player. That's the thing. You can never really, you can never truly look at your ratings or even how many games you won or lost as a measure of your strength as a chess player. At first, I thought you could, but I'm realizing that there's a few reasons. So here's what you want to know is that I'm going to explain something here. I'm going to explain how you may lose a game on time in a live chess match, even though you have more pieces than your opponent, and even if you're about to checkmate them in one move, you could still lose on time. So timed matches kind of skew the results a little bit. Different time controls skew the results a little bit. So, for example, I am not good at bullet chess. I mean, I'm good at chess generally, but my rating for bullet chess is a lot lower because I usually lose on time. I did have a 4-win in a row streak recently, which is nice. But that doesn't happen all the time because chess is a thinking game. So I've had my classical rating as high as 1700 before, but then it's gone down after a few losses. So your ratings go up and down. And one of the things that's different about over the board tournaments and the ratings, as opposed to online, is that people can play online every day and their rating changes daily. So you can't say, oh, well, this person, has had this rating for a few months because that's what it was after their tournament where they played rated games against other people, But here's the thing. At different times, depending on the time control and what happens, you're going to win or lose games. So here's the thing. Basically, if you want an accurate picture of why you won or lost games, you need to have entire games that went from the beginning all the way to a checkmate or a resignation. I think a resignation should count, but not if a person's in a winning position and they resign because they just don't see it. So what if you win or lose a game because you run out of time or because of your internet went out? I had a power outage and lost internet recently, and that was very frustrating. So things happen. So the only way to know about the reliability of games you played is to analyze each game individually. However, here's the problem. If you see, like, for example, if these games I've played, if I'm playing against Stockfish level 1, obviously I'm gonna win because it's easy. If I'm playing against a higher rated player, or a higher level of Stockfish, I'm probably gonna lose. And some of my games aren't completed. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There's a total of 1,196 games, but only 704 of them were rated. So rated games count towards your rating, whereas casual ones don't. And then there's wins here. So sort of by wins here. Well, yeah, I won a game by checkmate against Elmo Stashar here. But I also won against Stockfish level 1. But here's the thing, those two victories are not equal, obviously. because Stockfish is so stupid that you can always beat it. I don't think I've ever lost to Stockfish level 1. It makes a mistake like every move, I swear. Um, and and then you're gonna play against stronger and weaker human players as well. Now losses is interesting because let's look at my most recent losses. So this one, I lost due to being checkmated in bullet chess. But in this one, you see that okay, I lost that one too. Let's go back to one that I won because I usually lose bullet chess, but I've had a few lucky victories here and there. If we go back to that one time, yeah, bullet chess is hard. It's seriously pretty hard. There's a lot going on here. Now there were some crazy house games there too. So, oh, I played too many chess games. I can't even find my bullet chess. But anyway, you get the idea. So, you cannot consider classical chess and bullet chess to be anywhere in the same category. They're just simply not, obviously. Because in classical chess, the moves from both sides are of higher quality because they have more time to think. In bullet chess, people make stupid moves just because they have to move quickly. So I would argue that only classical or perhaps correspondence chess games actually really count for analysis. A person can analyze a bullet chess game, but keep in mind that's not really something to really study that much just because you make stupid moves sometimes, you know? Like it's absolutely crazy. But let's go back and let's look at advanced search. Let's try to search for a certain type. Let's see, duration. Okay. Let's do duration from 30 minutes. So okay, now what's this do? Only games where computer analysis is available. No, I'm not going to check that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to search and we're going to look at my 30-minute games. So now this is interesting because this is where 30 minutes or more. So in this case, there was Stockfish. Now here's my recent game against Gracie, because there's a whole stream of where I played chess with Gracie. So this one is actually, it might be worth analyzing, but it's a correspondence game. So keep in mind this did not affect my rating or Gracie's rating. However, if I'm going to analyze a game and what went right or wrong, then it makes sense to include casual games because whether it's rated or not has no bearing on who won or lost. And if somebody wants to be a good chess player, they could play only casual games, never even have a rating, and still become a better player. So here's an idea. How about I'm going to go to this game. I'm going to analyze the game that I had with Gracie. So we're going to go to the beginning of the game. And let's see exactly what happened here. So Gracie moved e4. That's traditional. And then I did Sicilian. I moved my queen's pawn 2 squares. And I thought, well, let's see. Will Gracie take it? Gracie didn't even take the pawn. Okay, that was very interesting. So I took their pawn instead. So yeah, this is weird. So let's see. So far, no mistakes really. I mean, okay, let's analyze this. Let me go back. When you're analyzing a game, you want to see, did I make any mistakes? Did my opponent make any mistakes? What really caused this game to end? Because the idea is if you lost, you made a mistake somewhere along the way. Now, the idea behind this, of course, is that a human who's a reasonably good chess player should be able to analyze a game, and they should be able to identify which move cost someone the game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this. Now, if we look at this, Gracie could have taken my pawn, but she didn't. She moved this pawn instead. Now, I can't truly categorize this as a mistake because technically there's nothing wrong with allowing somebody to capture a pawn. In fact, this could be known as like the England Gambit or something like that, where you let someone take the king's pawn. Now, obviously, I have captured one of Gracie's pawns, but that doesn't mean she's necessarily losing at this point. This only means that she has gotten 2 pawns out and enabled both bishops to attack. So I may have gotten a pawn, but that could mean that Gracie will start attacking me sooner with those bishops. So then Gracie moved this knight here. Now, obviously, if Gracie was going to move this knight, she was going to move it here because she would not want to move it over to here because this right here is guarded by this pawn. However, I'm not sure what Gracie was planning to do with that knight. I'm not sure, and I could have captured it. I'm going to back up. I could have captured it, but I decided I'm not going to do that yet because what if I want to do something else with my bishop that's sacrificing? So I decided, hey, I'm going to move this rook's pawn out. Now, the reason I did this was because I thought I'm going to attack the queen with this bishop, but I want to make sure the queen can't just kill the bishop, obviously, without consequence. So I did that. And then Gracie moved this pawn out, sort of mimicking me in a way, which is kind of cute. So then I did. I moved this bishop out here and attacked the queen. Now, here's what's interesting. See, Gracie did the natural thing. The natural thing here is to block with the pawn, block a bishop attack with pawn. That's the natural thing to do because I did this and then Gracie did this. That's the natural thing to do. And she would have gotten away with it too, if it were not for this pawn, my black pawn on e4, which can simply capture. If that hadn't been there, my bishop would have had to retreat. So the very fact that Gracie allowed me to capture that pawn earlier and get my black pawn into that spot, maybe it was a mistake after all, when you look at the way this turned out. So then Gracie captures back with the pawn, which is naturally a good thing to do still, and it still blocked the attack on the queen. But then I retreated the bishop. I figured, well, that attack failed, so I'll just move the bishop here. Now, moving the bishop to this square is something I commonly do. And why do I do this? Because here's what I'm planning to do. When you see me try to attack a spot from either this spot or this spot, like this is the weak square near the queen, and this is the weak square near the king. Now, in this case, I can't get to the weak square near the king, but this is the weak square near the queen, right here. This is a weak square, because the only thing that defends it is the queen. So obviously, here's what I'm trying to go for when I do that. So Gracie, I'm letting you know for future reference, is I'm planning to start getting my knight out here. And if I do it just right, I will be able to come over here and I will be able to get a knight here at the same time as having it defended by the bishop. So if I get a knight here and I put the king in check and also simultaneously attack the rook, I could end up killing the rook. So that's the idea. The bishop and the knight is my favorite of those two, but they work as a team. Bishops and knights really work as a good team together in the game of chess, so that's an important thing to consider. So anyway, let's go to the next move. So Gracie moved this knight here, which is good because I can't just capture with my bishop. But then I decided I'm going to advance this pawn one square because I wanted to bring out my other bishop. And then Gracie moved this knight out. And when this happens, this is what I do because I like to pin the knight. Now I can kill the knight next turn. That's a guarantee because the behind the knight diagonally is the king, and so obviously the knight can't move. It's an illegal move to move the knight. So if Gracie wants to be able to move the knight, she has to put another piece behind the knight, in between the knight and king, or simply has to move the king or something like that, but can't move the knight. So what's interesting is that Gracie didn't even do anything with that knight or that king. And she's not required to, obviously, because, she's not in check, but still is unable to move that knight. So then I decided to just continue by getting my pawns in a good structure. See, there's no motivation for me to kill that knight yet. I could kill that knight with the bishop at any time, but there's no motive for me to. Because my idea is that a piece that can't move is like a piece that doesn't exist. And so I will probably kill it later, but at this point in the game, I'm choosing not to. You don't have to kill things immediately. So then Gracie moved that pawn there. Now that's another mistake right there, because all that does is enable my queen to come here and put the king in check, obviously. So the king has to move. Now I moved this knight here, and you can see just by what I did there with that knight, you can see that I'm planning to bring the knight up here and do something. You can tell that I'm doing something. Or maybe the goal is for me to be able to open up my king to castle. However, in looking at this position, that's what I actually did. But the truth is, that may not have even been my best move, you know? But it's what I naturally did because it's not a bad move. Anyway, Gracie moved this knight, which now she can move that knight because the king is no longer in the same spot where it was before, obviously. So I see that Gracie is trying to bring the knight here. Obviously, Gracie wants to bring this knight right here. Now, if I had not castled like I did, then Gracie could have killed my rook. But I wasn't going to allow that because I saw that. So now Gracie moved this rook here. And I'm like, what does this accomplish? I don't know why Gracie moved the rook there. I just don't know. So Gracie was keeping me guessing. Maybe there was a plan. Maybe she didn't know what her plan was, but I'm sure there was a plan that worked somewhere. I'll have to ask Gracie. And usually she's watching me on Twitch. She's not right now because I didn't notify her. She's probably asleep, but that's all right. She needs to sleep sometimes. That's what most people do in the middle of the night. Instead of me working on schoolwork and then taking a break to do a chess stream. Because I'm weird. Anyway, so then I just advanced this pawn. I thought, well, I'll scare this knight away. And then Gracie attacked my king with the knight, and that would have been all right, except that my knight was right here. So I just killed her knight. So you can see already at the stage, I'm already winning this game because I've captured some of her pieces. And as far as I can tell, she hasn't even captured any of mine. I don't think. Well, actually, there was that one pawn that captured my pawn. But anyway. So then Gracie attacks my bishop, which is a reasonable move. My bishop has to go somewhere. So my bishop simply goes back a step. And so then Gracie just advanced this pawn here, and then I bring the knight back to where it was because I wanted the knight here. And then Gracie just advances this pawn here. So it doesn't attack me in any way. So Gracie may have just moved a pawn for the sake of it, but it's not really threatening me or attacking me, or at least not that I can see. So what I did is I proceeded with my plan here, putting the king in check. Now, why did I put the king in check? Because honestly, if you don't know what else to do, just put the king in check, because that simply buys you time, especially if you're playing a game live with where there is a time limit. The more often you can make it your opponent's turn and force them to have to think while moving their king, the more time you give yourself to think of and look at all of your pieces to plan your next attack. So Gracie moved the king there. Now, that's absolutely fabulous because see, then my knight goes here. Now, that's not really much of a fork, but I got to put the king in check again. But there's something very critical. Look back at this right here. Look right back at this move. I put the king in check by moving this knight here. The knight puts the king in check right here. But also, by moving the knight, I got it out of the way of my rook. Now, when I castled, Gracie didn't know that part of the reason for castling was to protect this square, which is being attacked by her knight. But what she didn't also know at the same time was that the secondary purpose was to get this rook in position for this attack. So you see, here's the problem. Gracie cannot stop this attack. It's unstoppable. I'm going to kill her queen at this point. So at this point, Gracie has pretty much lost the game. Because let's look at the options. Gracie cannot move here, here, or here with that king because the rook guards all those spots. Can't go here because of this bishop. Cannot go here or here because of the queen, and only has one spot left to go, which is there. So it's no surprise that's what she did. Except, actually, that's not what she did, because I forgot. So, Gracie killed the knight with the queen. Now, here's the thing, Gracie, come to think of it, at first I forgot what happened. I was focused on the king, but I forgot what had actually happened when we played. So, Gracie, this was your best move. Because you were guaranteed to lose that queen either way. Whether you had moved the king to that one available spot I mentioned, or whether you kill the knight, which is putting you in check, either way you lose the queen. So you made the best possible move of this situation, and I just want you to know that. So then, obviously, I kill the queen. Now, Gracie is running out of pieces here. And Gracie moved the king there, which, honestly, I'm not even sure why, because, you know, she wasn't required to move the king there. But then I just put the king in check again there. Gracie had to move back. So I'm just chasing Gracie's king all over the place. So now there's check again. Then check again. And now look at this. Now Gracie killed the knight with the rook. Which obviously that gets rid of the check. But rooks are usually worth more than knights. Now, I know I said the knight was my favorite, so hear me out, people. Yes, the knight is my favorite. But in terms of raw power for checkmating, one rook can do more damage than a knight. And the reason is you can checkmate with just a rook and a king, but you can't do the same with a knight. You really require at least two knights and a king to checkmate. Rooks are easier to checkmate with. So by doing so, Gracie gave me a more valuable piece in exchange for my knight, which was a weaker piece by comparison. Now keep in mind, Gracie, don't feel bad about this mistake, because you were going to lose this game anyway. After all, you're playing with me. But the thing is, for future reference, you might not want to give up your rooks so easily, because your rooks are going to be the tools you need to checkmate me. You're going to want to use your queen and your rooks to checkmate me. once you get to that point, we'll have to play more games, and eventually you will win. But I'm not just gonna let you win, obviously. But well, anyway, that's enough of that. So there we go. So I take it back, and then Gracie moves the bishop there. Okay, I see. And I just put Gracie in check. And then Gracie is forced to retreat the king there. So then I use that pawn and put the Gracie in check again. And Gracie can't take the pawn because it's guarded by the rook. And then Gracie goes there, and then there is checkmate. Because if you look at this, this pawn um, stops the king from going to that spot. And this pawn stops the king from going to either of these spots. This queen blocks here, here, and here. And then from a distance, I put Gracie in check with this bishop, and that's the checkmate. Because Gracie has nowhere to move, and it has no pieces to kill my bishop with. So that was a game. That was a game we played. So yeah. So that was my second win against my friend Gracie on Light Chess since she joined lightchess.org. Now I don't always win, but I'm actually a pretty good chess player, and Gracie hasn't had as much practice as I have. So I expect that I'm going to beat Gracie more often than I beat the average random person on live chess who plays. Like, there's people on here who play every day, and I'm one of them. I'm one of the people who plays on live chess every day. I try to fit in at least one game of chess a day. I do as much as I have time for. So anyway, that's my human analysis. That's my human analysis of this game. However, you can also request computer analysis of the game. So let's see here. Let's see what the computer has to say. Because I went to analysis, and then let's see here. Okay, so we need to turn the engine on. We're going to turn on the Stockfish engine analysis here. So Stockfish is trying to suggest what it believes the best move in each position to be. Now, Stockfish actually recommended Queen's Pawn, which is, I find interesting. I find it interesting that Stockfish is recommending that Gracie play Queen's Pawn, because that's what I like to do, is Queen's Pawn. But you have to remember, guys, I don't usually do computer analysis. Now, you may wonder, Chastity, you're a chess player. Why don't you use computer analysis on your games? Well, part of the reason is I want to, as a person, be able to think myself about why the game went a certain way or not. And I don't always necessarily agree with the machine. But this raises the question, if Stockfish running on the server of livechess.org says the first best move for white is Queen's Pawn, that's interesting, because that's what I like to do. So, but the move that Gracie actually played was King's Pawn 2 squares. Now, Stockfish is recommending that I play my King's Pawn 2 squares, which, that's not bad, but I played the Scandinavian because I'm a Queen's Pawn player. And and also, if you look at this, the engine said that Gracie should have captured my pawn, but Gracie didn't do that. But Gracie, remember, whatever the computer says you need to do, don't do that necessarily. If you want to, go ahead, but you need to be able to think about your own human reasoning for why you do it. And I always have a human explainable reason why I do everything. And first of all, if you don't know why you're making a move, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You have to have a plan associated with it. And also, if you can't explain the moves you're making, then are you really doing it, or are you cheating? See, that's the thing is there are people who cheat in chess, and it's very, very sad. Um, but there are moves that only an engine would think up. Engines are different than human players, so I prefer to do my own human analysis. But I do find this enlightening just to see what the computer analysis is. So Gracie moved that pawn, and then I actually did do the best move because it only seemed logical to capture that. And I'm going to speed through this a little bit, obviously, because of the fact that, um, like, this computer analysis, like, obviously, it's recommending here that Gracie plays that knight there. Which, and it's easy to see why, though, because if that knight did go there, it would attack that pawn. But Gracie did this knight move instead. But Gracie, I would also caution you against this because if you look at it, I could have right then killed that knight if I wanted to. I just didn't feel like it at the time. But my bishop, the bishop right next to my queen is almost always able to attack diagonally. And that's because I play with my queen's pawn move 2 squares first. So, but when you're playing games specifically with me, moving the knight there is a bad move, almost all the time. But that only applies to when you're playing with a queen's pawn player like me. Anyway, so Stockfish had recommended moves for every position in this game. And most of the time, the move I was playing, well, not all the time. See, there were a lot of times what it recommended was different than what I did. You see this. You can see that, in fact, okay, guys, this is an interesting thing. So let's say that you were playing a game against somebody and you wanted to find out if they were cheating or not. Well, what you would do is you would go through the computer analysis and then look, did they make were all of their moves in line exactly with what the computer recommended? If so, they're either the next Magnus Carlsen for always finding the best move, or they were using a chess engine to tell them what all the best moves were. So watch out for that. You can use the chess analysis to help detect if your opponent is cheating or not. So that's just a little bit of a tip. And people do cheat, but also don't. Okay, this is my personal thing. I'm not gonna go accusing somebody of cheating, because first of all, I'm going to allow the live chess site maintainers to determine that. My goal as a chess player is to play chess and to try to find the best move. And if my opponent's cheating, I want to still try my best to find the best move and still beat them, even if they are cheating. Now that's near impossible, but that's what I aim to do. So the concept of cheating in chess is still a very weird one. It's a very weird one, and people just don't get it. But people do try it, but they don't learn anything in the process of that. So that's my little TED talk on the whole cheating aspect. But this is very interesting. But anyway, the point is, I did not even need this machine analysis of this game because I was able to, before I started analyzing the machine, I was able to simply figure out why Gracie lost this game. Gracie made several moves that did not attack me, and I know how to go on the offensive very easily in the game of chess. So that's it. So anyway, I hope that Gracie appreciates this analysis I did of the game we played the other night. It was a great game, and Gracie played moves that clearly were not the engine recommendations, but it was different because I tend to see a lot of the exact same set of moves every time when I play online, which kind of leads me to suspect maybe my opponents are cheating. You know, I just don't want to accuse them of cheating because I don't want that drama in my life. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to show you in general about computer analysis. But there's something else I want to show you. So we're going to go back to the analysis board. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. We're going to go to Opening, Explorer, and Table Base. Now, if you go to Table Base, now this is very, very interesting. So there's different databases here. Now, I haven't made any moves on the analysis board yet here, but I want you to look at something. Look at the numbers. Look right under where it says Live Chess Database here. You can hover your mouse over each of these moves in the chess notation. It tells you what percentage of games played was this move played, and you know how many games included that move in that position. So how many people played e4 as their first move while playing white? 3,200,000. Wait, no, this is billion. Oh, wait, billion? Oh, this is billions. This isn't millions. This is billions. Over 3 billion people played e4 as their first move in games on this website alone. Clearly, e4 is the most popular starting move. The number 2 most popular was d4. As I mentioned in my book that I started writing, it never finished. d4 is the second most popular move. And also quite popular is knight f3. There's all kinds of different things, but if you look at this, now here's the percentages. Okay, so the win percentage for white is 49%, and the win percentage for black for the e4 opening is 47%. So we see that white wins more often. In fact, if you look at these numbers, white actually wins more often than black in all of these cases, with the exception of right here, e3. Now, this is interesting. This is very interesting because if you look at this, e3 is where someone moves the king's pawn 1 square. Now, I find it interesting that black actually wins more when white just does just this, but I think I know the reason. Part of the reason, when you only play this pawn 1 square, you're blocking in your dark squared bishop. So you have a closed position that kind of limits white's capability. So I think that's why. Anyway, we're going to go back. So anyway, giving any position, you can see how popular it is, and you can click on that to play that in the analysis board. The analysis board is extremely helpful, but keep in mind this is the Lichess database. Rated games. Now notice it says rated games sampled from all Lichess players, so it does not include the the casual games or games against stockfish. That's important information because I was hoping that my stupid losses against stockfish level 8 were not going to be included here. So that it only includes rated games. So, but this one, I'm going to go to this tab over the board games of 2,200 plus FIDE rated players from 1952 to 2024-08. So that means from the year 1952 to 2024 August, we're switching to the Masters. Now let's take a huge look at the difference in numbers. Now, if you look at this, we see that we have wins and losses for each of these, but we have very few draws. If you go to the Masters here, if you go to the Masters games from over the board tournaments over the past 70 years or whatever, then because I think it was 19. Okay, so 72 years. So 72 years worth of tournaments played over the board. You see the e4 is still the most popular move, d4 being a close second. But you see the amount of draws are a lot. And there's a reason for this. Okay, I am a person who has never played over the board tournaments, but I am going to give you my analysis of why are there more draws? Why are there more draws in over the board tournaments? Well, here's what I think happens. I could be totally wrong on this, but I think I'm right, so hear me out. In over the board tournaments, they're playing a lot of games and they get into situations where both players agree to a draw. They just agree to a draw so they can go on to the next game because they're in a position where it's not clear who's winning or losing, but perhaps they run out of they were running out of time to do the event, so they needed to just hurry on with the games. Or they saw a draw coming and they just decided to just go ahead and agree to a draw because people can offer a draw at any time in the game of chess. There's even a feature built into chess websites to offer a draw. And it's even happened to me while I'm playing live chess. I'll be in a winning position and someone tries to offer me a draw, and I'm like, please don't insult me. I'm about to win this game. So anyway, people agree to draws over the board, whereas that's less likely to happen in online chess just because people either run out of time or they have a checkmate because they're focusing on one game at a time. They're not dealing with all the distractions and all the events going on with over the board tournaments. So I think that's why. But if you look at this situation, you will see some trends that white still wins more often than black in almost all cases. But notice that in the case of f4 as the first move, or c3, or even b4 e3, that black wins more in those games. So here's what we're seeing, guys. What we're seeing is that if you are playing white, then let's look at the Masters database here, and then we'll go back to the Live Chess Player database. So you see that if you look at the numbers here, E4 and D4 are your best bets. They're very close. E4 is at a 32% win rate for white. D4 is a 33% win rate. So it's slightly better, but they're very, very close. So E4 and D4 are really good. Now you can see that even higher is knight F3. That's interesting. Knight F3 is actually a good first move, and the reason is people are going to want to get that knight out. Not when you move this knight, not only are you helping your king get castle by getting a piece out of the way, but the knight is just useful because the knight can go here, and then it can start attacking, the weak square next to the king. So this knight is, that's one of my weapons, is this knight. So knight F3 is not a bad move. So it's a good third alternative. And you see that C4, 7% of games use C4. And that's not bad either, because that's like a queen's gambit, except you're not moving the queen's pawn first. So there's different ways to go about it. Anyway, but let's look at the regular live chess player database, and let's see here. Let's see. We still see the E4, D4, and knight F3. They still are in this order of popularity, but we still see that the highest win percentage is with knight F3. By looking at the numbers here, and by looking at this master database, we see that knight to f3 as a first move for white, as well as c4, could actually be possibly better starting moves than e4 or d4. But we don't have enough of a sample size, because if you look at the number of games where these openings were played compared to these, we have a larger sample size for E4 and D4. So we know E4 and D4 are the most reliable, well-tested, known top two opening moves for white, which always starts the game. Now I know that was long-winded, but that is all that information I gathered all that information just by analyzing the live chess database and the masters database. So now we're going to look at the third option, the player database. Chastity White Rose as white. Now, if you look at this, this is very interesting. Now, if you look at this, this shows my rated games. So there have been 256 games where I played a d4 as my first move, because d4 is my most popular move. However, there were games where I played e4 because I was playing bullet chess or whatever, and I was trying to go for a quick win. Now, if you look at this, I have a 100% win rate with knight f3, but that's only 3 games compared to 256. Now, if I played 256 games with knight f3 as my first move and still had a 100% win rate, then I would actually have a larger sample size to gather from. So we cannot judge. There was one game I played. One game where I played knight. I played e3. I played pawn to e3. There was only one game where I actually did that, and that's interesting. Whereas most of my games play with d4, e4. So what this means is that, wait a minute. Guys, I just realized something. These are the only 4 openings I have ever used in my life on livechess.org. I've only played these as my first moves, and I am primarily a d4 player. So anyway, yeah, this is interesting. And let me see about this. Oh, you can filter it. Oh, check this out, guys. Okay, guys, this is interesting. See, it's your own personal database of your own games. Now, notice that you can switch sides. So now here's the case where it's me as the black player. Now, keep in mind, this is obviously, if I'm the black player, none of this applies to me. But so let's look at games where white plays d4, but I'm the black player. Well, we see then that in my games, we see quite a few things. Most of my games, I play the Scandinavian. Now, I tried the French defense in some games. I tried the Caro-Kann in some games, but mostly the Scandinavian. The Scandinavian is my top opening for black, where my response to e4. So we see that's what I do the most often. So the Scandinavian is my most played opening here. So this is where I'm the black player, and even though white generally wins more than black, the simple fact of the matter is I still won 46% of the time. Now, if you look at the French defense here, because let me go back. But if you see that I have 50% win rate there, and white has 47%, but there's only 36 games compared to the 85. And you see here, I have a 60% win rate, but there's only 15 games in that case of C5 with the Sicilian. So you need a larger sample size, obviously, to do this kind of a thing. So anyway, but let's look at this. So anyway, because you can analyze the position for both black and white, obviously. And I'm going to delete all of the moves here. We're going to start from the fresh start here. So here's what we see. This is me as the white player. We're back to these stats here. And I'm analyzing which openings do I play the most often and what are my win or loss percentages. I'm analyzing the database of my own personal account on Live Chess. However, here's what we're going to do. We're going to filter it. Let's filter it. So you can turn on or off. Okay, there's Ultra Bullet. You could, okay. So here's what we're going to do. Interesting. Okay, so you have to have one time control. You can have multiple time controls selected. So, okay, so this is when bullet chess is included. That's the way it was. So now let's deselect the bullet chess. And then you see that my win rate went up to 50% playing white. If we include bullet, it goes back down to 49. If we include ultra bullet, then it stays the same. So now let's remove the bullet and let's also remove blitz. Let's remove blitz. Okay, now notice the number of games has gone down, but I'm at 49% win rate. So let's see. Now let's get rid of rapid, where we're stuck with only classical and so now notice that the E3 opening doesn't even show up. It must have been a rapid or something. I mean, it must have been a blitz. So now you see the numbers are different because there's fewer games played with these time controls. So now we're going to analyze. Okay, let's only look at classical. Let's only look at the classical games here. So here we see that my win percentage for white is 44% there, and I've only played D4 or E4 for classical. Now let's go to correspondence, and let's look at that. Now we see, if we only count correspondence, we see that my win rate for D4 over a sample of 53 games is 55%. So my average opponent is 1,728. So my win percentage is much higher when you consider the correspondence games. Notice that it also has casual and rated. So let's see. Let's deselect casual. Now, when we deselect casual, the win percentage goes down. That's very interesting. I must have played a lot of casual games. So let's take off rated and go only to casual. Okay, now that's interesting. If you look at if you look at this, if you look at my if we are looking only at my casual games, because the casual games aren't counted for the live chess player database in general, but for me personally, I can filter out. So if you look at this, the casual correspondence games I've played, there's a total of 18 games casual, because I play mostly rated. But you will see that I have 100% win rate with E4. You see that I have 90% with D4. Now, if there's 10 games and there's 90 and I have 90%, then that means only once out of those. Yeah, that's crazy. Dude, okay, that's really freaky. So it's showing recent games, but here's what we want to do. I want to find the game. So let's look, because there's very few songs. So I need to find out which of these games I lost. I lost 1 out of 10 games here playing casually correspondence. So let's see what happened. We're gonna select that, and then we're gonna see that these are the games. Let's see here. So these were all games where I had played. Now let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there a way to go to the next page? I don't know. Is there? Because I really want to It's interesting because I'm only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do I go to the next page? Is there a way to go to the next page? It's not showing me all the games, so I don't know how to go to the others there. So, okay, guys, this is very interesting here because I don't know how to access every single game I play with this opening, with this time control. But okay, so let's narrow this down a little bit. Let's narrow it down. What if opponent plays D5? So then we see that within the casual games, we see there were 3 games played here. So there were 3 different games here. Oh, look at this. So casual games, I usually play rated games, but I played 2 casual games against my mom. I won both of those. And then I played a casual game against someone named Joe Salito, 33. So, and in this game, what happened? You can see that I played the Queen's Gambit. I played C4. We're gonna go to this game. So now we're finding out which game it was that I lost. We have narrowed it down and we found it. So let's see what happened in this game. I'm analyzing a chess game where I I played the Queen's Gambit here. We were in the Queen's Gambit position, and then Joe Salito played knight to f6, and then what did I do? I put my knight here. Yeah, that's what I do. And they did Queen's Gambit decline there, and I advanced this pawn here. Now that's nothing wrong with that. And then I did this. I attacked that. Now I captured that knight. They moved that pawn there. I just continue my diagonal pawn structure. They all defend each other. But at this point in the game, I mean, I'm making good moves. Things were fine here. So let's see. Did I make any mistakes? Okay, so that happened. I captured back there. They did that. I did this. Okay. I did that. And they put me in check here. So I blocked that check with the knight. What happened here? I castled here. Okay. Because obviously I didn't want my king to remain in line with that queen. So I castled. That's what I did. Then they also castled. Now here you see that I put this rook behind that knight trying to plan an attack on that queen. But then the queen moved, so it was all for nothing. I still moved this knight here, thinking I'll be able to do something with it. Now, this was actually a pretty good move. This was actually a really good move because, see, I had captured a pawn there, and my knights protect each other. But then they did that. I wasn't quite expecting them to do that. That was interesting. So let's see here. Now, okay, oh, I see. Okay, you see this? Okay, so they did that. They captured this pawn. So, but then I did this move. This move right here. This move right here. What was I going for? I'm trying to remember what I was trying to do. Obviously, I wanted to get my rook out of the harm's way, but okay, look. What I should have done here, maybe I mouse slipped, I don't know what happened here. But what I should have done here, what I should have done is I should have moved this rook, should have moved it either here or here to defend this pawn. That's what I should have done. But that wasn't what I did. So I made a little mistake there. So I moved this here. Now, and then they captured that pawn, attacking my rook again. Whereas if I had moved to one of those other 2 spots, that would have been better. So it wasn't the opening. It wasn't the Queen's Gambit opening that cost me. It was my mistake later on. There were better places to move that rook to. You know? So let's see here. And then I did that. Then I moved that there. Let's see here. We traded rooks. That's all right. And then I did that. Okay, then I got that rook there. Now this is interesting here because, yes. So, even so, I made that one mistake earlier with the rook and it cost me a few of my pawns. But let's see what happened here. Now I moved the queen there. Okay, see this is that there's this is the second big mistake I made this game. I moved this pawn here, thinking I'm going to attack it, but I just left this pawn vulnerable. What I should have done, it's easy to see what I should have done, is I should have just moved this pawn. I should have moved it one square. That's what I should have done there. I shouldn't have just allowed them to take another pawn. So I made two mistakes. Neither of them had anything to do with the Queen's Gambit opening, but they were mistakes I made much later in the game. So then they did that, and I continued killing some pawns. But then they had the option to put me in check, and there was not much I could do because my king was in the corner here, and I got checkmated. So we see that the Queen's Gambit, I have a 90% win rate with the Queen's Gambit, um, and the one loss in 10 games was only because of a mistake I made much later in the game. So much later in the game, I made that mistake. So what can I learn from this? What I've learned is that the opening is not what cost me. It's mistakes I make later in the game. That's why I lose. It has very little to do with the opening. The Queen's Gambit is solid. The Queen's Gambit is just a really good opening to do, you know? Um, so yeah, there's a few things I would do differently next time. But isn't this interesting? Isn't this amazing that I have the option to analyze? I can filter out games where I've done something, and I can even filter out which time control. Now let's go back to rated and turn off casual. Now what do we have? We have 43 games where we had D4, and then of those we had D5, and then now this is interesting. Okay, I find this very interesting because if you look at this in the Queen's Gambit position when playing rated games, notice that I only won 33% of the time. So why did I do so much worse in this case? Well, wait a minute. Let me go back. Okay, so if we look at all positions total, I only won 23% of the time when I play C4. So the Queen's Gambit actually, when I played rated games, I performed a lot worse. Okay, now that's interesting. That's very interesting to me. Why would my success with the Queen's Gambit opening be so much less in rated games compared to casual games? See, this is some deep analysis. Like this is extreme stuff. So if you think about it though, in the rated games, people are less likely to cheat. If you think about it, you know what I'm saying? Like because in casual games, people are playing for fun, whereas people who are playing rated games, they have a desire to, um, try to get their rating higher, and they will probably cheat in order to do it. But since there are cheaters, a few times I've been notified that my opponents were banned for cheating. It's happened a few times. I didn't report them, but somehow I just detected it. Then people are more likely to cheat in the in those rated games. But anyway, there are separate stats for me as a player between casual and rated games. I find this interesting. So I realize this video is getting long, so I'm going to analyze one more game. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's now that we're analyzing rated games of correspondence, let's analyze. Okay, there were. If you look at this, let's look at let's look at this. Let's look at Queen's Gambit accepted here. So this is very interesting because you can see there were a total of 6 games where they accepted the Queen's Gambit. Now, so yeah, these were correspondence games. So let's look at one of the games I won. Okay. Let's look at this game played in March of 2024. Let's look at this game that I won because I lost in another game. So let's analyze this game where we were in the Queen's Gambit position and I won this game. Let's see how I won this game. So they accepted the Queen's Gambit. Then I moved my king pawn there. They did that. Then I got my bishop into that square. That's the idea behind the Queen's Gambit. And then they started doing that. We moved a bunch of pieces here. I captured their knight and sacrificed my bishop. We just had an exchange of pieces here. This was kind of wild. All right, so there's that. Yeah, queen trade. A lot of exchanges, but we're pretty even on pieces. What was the deciding move here? What game was it that caused the win here? Interesting. Okay, now I find this super interesting. So if you look at this, they attacked my knight. I mean, they attacked my rook there, but I was not concerned. And here's why. Because if you look at this, I capture their bishop, they kill my rook, and then I kill their rook. So yes, they killed my rook, but I captured 2 of their pieces, and they only got 1 of mine. So then what happened? Now I start doing some fancy stuff here. I put the king in check. I'm closing in on their territory, and I'm wiping out their army. Very gracefully, just completely wiping out their army. Now, this is interesting because they could have killed that knight with that rook, but they didn't do it. Instead, they did that, and then I put them in check, and then I did that. Okay. Yeah, they just let me take their rooks to it. Now, we're still mostly even, except I have more pawns here. Wait, the game just ended. Yes, black resigned. So, my opponent, realizing they had made several mistakes and realizing I had more pawns, they resigned. And that's how I won. Okay, so that's what happened. It's very cool. The light chess analysis board is very, very cool. Now, I just want to show you one more thing. Now, you guys know that lightchess.org is the site that I play chess on the most. But before light chess existed, before I knew about light chess, thank you for that, Alexandra, for introducing me. I played on chess.com. So I'm going to go to chess.com and I'm going to show you, does chess.com have a similar feature? Does it have a feature? Oh, and it looks like it's my turn in several games. I'm playing several games with Rocco. Oh man, okay, that's wild. So, yeah, let's see here. Let's go to, let's see here. I'm trying to remember, how do I go to learn? Let's see here. Let's see, openings. No, that's not. I'm trying to remember, how do I get to the analysis board? I'm trying to remember, how do I get to, oh, the analysis. Next to learn, you go have analysis. So this is the analysis board of chess.com. Now, chess.com has, its own analysis board. So let's do something similar. Let's try to get the Queen's Gambit position here. There's that. And let's see here what we've got. So now let's go to explore. Now, this is games played by other people. Yeah, this is games played by other people. Is there a way to... Yeah, see, I don't know chess.com very well. I don't really know very well what... Okay. I'm trying to find where the because I want to find out how do I analyze my own um let's see here. I don't know what that is. Okay. See, I don't know how to navigate chess.com. That's because I don't usually visit this site. But we're going to go to the Explorer and let's put this back into let's refresh this whole page. Let's just refresh the page and then we're going to analyze. We're going to get into the Queen's Gambit position here and then we're going to explore. So it has master games. We see that Hikaru played a game with this position. That's interesting, but I'm going to be analyzing my own game. So, oh, here it is, my games. So we are looking at my own games here that I've played. Now, if you look at these are 10-minute games. These are 10-minute games here. So rapid games on chess.com played by me against other people. Now you can see here that in this position here, I had a 48% win rate when I am in the Queen's Gambit position. Now, why this number specifically? Well, first of all, the Queen's Gambit can go more than one way. One way can go is they accept the gambit, the other way it declines the gambit. And I'm not as good at responding when they decline the gambit. When they accept the gambit, I know what to do. I know how to get my bishop in position and try to go for a scholar's mate this delayed. So I need more practice, obviously. But let's then analyze. Okay, Queen's Gambit accepted. Queen's Gambit accepted. There's a total of 28 games, and I got a 54% win rate, which is close to the 55% I had on live chess. So that's interesting. Now moves to play in this position. Interesting. Yeah. So you'll see that 3 times I had played knight c3, and that's not a bad thing to do. But I usually am playing e4 as my next move there. And when that happens, then you can see that based on different percentages, different things, I had different percentages. So in this case, when I play e6, when they play e6, for some reason I had 71% win rate. So the cool thing is that chess.com does have a similar feature. So let's just say let's look at a random game here. Let's look at... Oh, hey, what happened? Oh, Sarah Taylor just followed. Oh, hey, Sarah. Have you been watching? Have you been watching without me noticing? Hey. Hey. Yeah. How are you, Sarah? I have someone watching here. Sarah Taylor, that name sounds familiar. Are you on my Facebook friends list? Are you the Sarah Taylor that I used to know from Rediscover years ago? Yeah, because I knew. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people in the world named Sarah Taylor, but I remember a Sarah Taylor. Okay, so it was a different Sarah Taylor. Not that it matters, but anyway, you've been watching my chess analysis here. So first, um, I was analyzing on live chess, but then I was just showing the chess.com analysis board to show how you can use the analysis board on either livechess.org or chess.com. I am from Lisa Hunt, Missouri. I'm in Lisa Hunt, Missouri, and I play a lot of chess, obviously. That's the theme of Chastity's Chess Challenge. So, yeah, thanks for watching. This is so cool. So, here is now this is interesting. So, Okay, this is very interesting because I was trying to analyze this game. Notice here, notice how it says upgrade to unlock Explorer. Well, here's the thing. After a while of using the analysis board on chess.com, they want you to pay for a membership to continue to access more features. That's stupid. That's stupid. Live chess is completely free. Yes, yes, you can play unlimited chess on chess.com, but for some features of the analysis board or for certain other features, they require a membership, whereas live chess is totally free. So that is why I mostly play on livechess.org. So we go back to livechess.org, and so, but so I've played more games on livechess.org than probably even chess.com. So this is where I do most of my chess playing. And the analysis board here is just perfect because then I can analyze things. Like I can go back and I can analyze my recent game with Empress of Infected, which is one of my Instagram followers, mind you. This is a game I played with one of my Instagram followers. So here, this is what happened in this game. That's cool. That's pretty cool. England Gambit. Okay, they let me take their queen. That's why I won. They just let me take their queen too easy. But then I let them take my queen. Now, why did I do that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting tired. But thank you for watching, Sarah Taylor. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I want to ask Sarah. Oh yeah, so Sarah, we have more comments. So nice to meet you. Which game do you stream mostly? That great. By the way, are you a new streamer? You're welcome. Yeah, actually, I've been streaming for a few months. I've only been streaming for a few months. I only recently, I got a I'm using my Windows 11 laptop, and it has a camera. My other computer runs on this, but it doesn't have a camera, so I use this one for streaming. But all of what you see here, this is all OBS Studio. OBS Studio is the software I use, and I had to figure out. I followed tutorials on how do I set up to stream. Um, so what you see here, you see my camera here. My camera, you see my face, and you see there's like you don't see anything in the room because I have a filter to remove the background. Someone says, well, I have an offer. May I share it if you don't mind? Okay, what's your offer? Yeah, what's your offer, Sarah Taylor? 6? Okay, basically, I am a professional graphic designer with years of experience specializing in customizing Twitch channels for gamers. Just let me know if you're interested, and I'll design your stuff at reasonable prices. I, I gotta create like logo, banner, overlay, emotes for your channel. If you're interested, share your Discord or Instagram, then I will show you my work. Oh, okay. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you my Instagram, okay, and you can message me more that way about this. I actually have a pretty cool layout on Twitch myself, because I'm also sort of a graphic designer. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my link tree. Now, this page is my link tree. I have it all customized with the colors I like. So you see it has several links. It goes to my blog, my Twitch channel, my live chess and live shogi. Yes, I play shogi, Japanese chess. My music on Bandcamp, my YouTube channel, Chastity's Chess Challenge. I made a PayPal account specifically for my business Chastity's Chess Challenge. And wait a minute. Oh, my Instagram isn't on the list. My Instagram isn't even on the list. I didn't consider it relevant enough to put on the list. Oh well, I can go to Instagram anyway. I'm gonna go to my Instagram here. Um, Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I design a lot of art. Let me show you some things here. So if you look at my profile on Instagram, here's a lot of my recent posts. You see, I do a little bit of art myself. Now, this is from a game. This doesn't count. That's from a scene from Final Fantasy VIII. But I do a little bit of art myself. For example, this image here, this image right here, I designed this. I designed this in Inkscape, believe it or not. Here I have the chessboard. I have Chastity's Chess Challenge, the only sport where everyone is equal. And you see multiple copies of the progress flag. I also happen to be a graphic designer. And so yeah, I do a lot of art. I do a lot of art. In fact, I wanna let's see. I'll show you my Deviant Art account. Okay, Deviant Art Gallery, 10binary.deviant art gallery. I have a lot of art. I am a graphic designer. Just want to put that out there. I am not a paid graphic designer because I don't know how if anyone would pay me, but I create a lot of art. You see, I have chess themes. I create chess themed art. I made my own Tetris game, by the way. There's a screenshot. You see, I do art. Like, I am an artist. Like, I've had a DV art account and I've designed thousands of pictures. Like, I have a lot on here. I'm a graphic designer and I have cool stuff. Now, do I advertise this very often? Probably not, because I'm not a marketer, okay? I'm not a marketer, and I've been putting my efforts lately into my chess teaching business. Also, I do computer programming. You can tell by you can tell just by looking at some of these, it's source code of computer programs. This is freaky. Yeah. Oh, here's a little animation I made. I made this animation. Ooh, hey, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. See, that's the thing about this is that I have been trying to promote my Twitch channel, um, and my Twitch channel actually looks pretty cool. Um, because I usually my type of art either involves rainbows or it involves a black and white theme because the game of chess, black and white, perfect harmony, obviously. I also make music with artificial intelligence. I write words, I feed it to AI, and it sings my words. Like I do a lot of art. I do a lot of stuff. So who knows? Maybe you'll help me. Maybe I'll help you. But yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, my Instagram here is Chastity White Rose, the same as my username on Twitch, and on chess.com and live chess. All of this stuff. I have a lot of art. I have so much stuff that I do. Some of it is AI art that I use AI generators. But see, I had to write a description of this character. This character is supposed to be what my soul looks like, the white dress, the white hair, um, all of that stuff. That's what I picture myself as looking like. Not like what my body actually looks like, but what I want to look like, you could say. Anyway, yeah, so that's the crazy thing here. And I mean, I do need to end this stream. It's getting long and I have schoolwork I need to get back to. But I would like to show you, see, the AI music that I share. Um, I have been creating albums of the AI music. Now, you can listen to these songs for free on my social media as much as you want. However, what Bandcamp allows me to do is allows me to make it downloadable. So it is for sale. Some of the stuff is for sale on Bandcamp. Um, and then you can just like download the MP3 files, put them in your iTunes or whatever you use, and like my recent like this. If you're into the game of chess, I have an album of chess music. I use the image I designed here uh, um, to um, to be the logo for this album. There's 8 songs in the album Chastity's Chess Challenge. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. So like Checkmate in Shadows is good, Darkness and Light, and it has the original song Chastity's Chess Challenge. Although I've made a few variations of that same song since then. So anyway, I do a lot. I do a lot of stuff, but mostly on my Twitch channel, I'm just playing chess on live chess. So, Sarah Taylor, if you or anybody else is interested in playing chess with me, here's my profile right here, Chastity White Rose. So I accept challenges from everybody of every rating. Instead of like some of those cowards who only play against high-rated players so they can increase their rating, I care more about being able to play games with anybody, because I am Chastity the chess coach. So that's the idea. So anyway, I don't know if Sarah Taylor's still listening or not, but I need to end this stream. There's some work I need to get back to for school. But I'm very glad that I got to do this stream because I was able to show you how you analyze chess games. Not only how do I analyze a chess game myself, but how you can use computer analysis and how you can filter through. Like if you want to find games like, okay, I've played this opening, but what's my win percentage when using this opening? And in those games, why did I win or lose? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it. It's a good way to find, like, okay, I played this game with this person. I know they made these moves and I made these moves to start, but then what happened after that? So the live chess analysis board is like the best tool. Chess.coms might be good too, but you have to pay to use that one. Whereas live chess is totally free. That being said, live chess is a non-profit project that runs on donations. So yes, I donate $5 a month because I believe in what the site is doing. It's not much. I'm poor, but $5 donation a month is what I do because I strongly believe. And if I start making money from my streams, I don't know if anybody it will subscribe to me on Twitch, but if I get subscribers to where people are donating to me on a monthly basis, I will probably increase my light chess donation a little bit because light chess helps me, provides me the best platform to play and teach chess on. So I will return the favor the best I'm able to. So that's my promise to you. Anyway, my reminder always be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. And remember, don't forget this, a smile is a valuable tool. It inspires your friends, keeps your enemies guessing, and ensures that no matter what comes your way, you remain the one in control. Now have a fabulous night, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. There will be recordings of it. It will also be on YouTube.